Alright everybody, we've got this 94 Pathfinder that we've been working on, and tonight I finished up some other things and decided that I needed to try to get this steering wheel all put together. What I've got is a Pathfinder with, I've swapped over to a 4-cylinder, and I'm using the 97 Nissan pickup wiring harness. And these switches had different plugs. So what I did is I went to a parts truck, 97. I picked up the ones that plug in to a 97 pickup. And when I did that, they would not slide into this black housing that fits onto the steering stem here. Okay, now what I did is I removed this pin, which I did not need to do that. I'm going to have to put that back. So don't do that. You don't need to do that. So I'll get that fit back on there later. I went back to my parts truck and I picked up the black plastic piece off of it. This is an airbag truck, so I used pliers. No, I used vice grips to get those safety bolts off. They're made where you cannot remove those. Vice grips did remove those. So I took the airbag out, took the steering wheel off, and then there's a plate that screws on 4 corners of this. That is also for airbag. I removed that. I don't need that, I don't believe. So then I removed these screws. There's 3 of those. And in order to remove those, I used a pick. And there is a little catch tab right here that you have to push, and then you're able to remove those screws. I needed those screws removed so that I could lay that on here and make a mark. So I used the same tool to scribe a little circle. The camera may not pick that up, but it is on there. It's very faint. And in order to make my mark in the center where it needs to go around, I had to remove this. So there's a spring, and then the blue piece. This blue piece, what it is for is it kicks off your blinkers when you turn. So we will need to keep that on there. So this had catch tabs, 1 and 2 catch tabs. So I had to play with those and get those off. I cut this piece of 16 gauge steel, and we are going to drill into that to be able to put our screws in. And then we are going to try to cut this circle right here. It might be a good idea to cut that circle first so that we know that we are going to have it in the right spot. And what this plate is going to do is allow us to bolt this black piece onto this shaft. Alright, so that big circle, you will slide it down. And then what I have learned is the depth of this blue piece. There's a spring here, right? So your steering wheel will push on this, and it will push all the way down. If it is not pushed all the way down, the kickoff will not reach where it's supposed to reach, and it will not kick off your blinker. All of that is a mouthful. I'm going to see if I can find the correct size drill bit for this. And we're going to see if we can fit an aftermarket steering wheel onto this, which I know we can. I've done this to a 97 before. I even got the horn to work. I think I've got a video on here possibly of that, so already, but we'll do it again. I'm not scared of trying to do new things. So this is like a pyramid. This screw goes on top and these two go on bottom. That's how that came off, and we will put that back the same way because these don't come straight out. They will come out at an angle. So your stems will be pointed up slightly. Alright, I'll see what I can get down here real quick. I'll update you. I picked a hole saw, 1.5 inch. That'll zoom right there, 1.5, or focus I mean. And it is just a hair small. It's probably small due to all of the burrs that are on it. But I have this tool. This is a pneumatic tool with this spiral cut. I'm going to get some safety glasses and I will knock some burrs off of this and get it to fit. Alright, that's what we've got. So this is going to have to get welded to that. So anything that you have down here, carpet, all your goodies, you might want to throw a flame resistant rug or something down. I'm going to move some of my tools. Alright, now that is just a hair loose now. It's going to be fine, no worries. Come back over here. What I'm going to do, lay that there. Slightly bent now because it got away from me. So I'm going to line these two holes up, and then I'm going to rescribe this. I'll flip this over if I have to rescribe onto a new area. Make sure your holes lined up. I'll scribe these holes and then figure out what size that I need to make those. I have no idea what size drill bit that was. It was bigger than the base of this, but smaller than the threads. We'll see if we can get these to even go in there. Alright, I got the screws to go in, but there are some little tabs that I'm going to have to knock off. Top and bottom. I've crushed that one, but it's still not flush. I'm going to knock those down a little bit. Okay, I've got it all fit together. And now this does have to be put on. It just snaps back in place. This will have to be pushed all the way down when that is welded on. So, and what I'm going to do is try to get it tack welded and then pull the plastic off, that way I don't melt anything. Let's see what we got right here. And of course my hole is off now. Why wouldn't it be? I'm going to hit this right here with that tool, that deburring tool, and we'll make it fit. Alright, my compressor's running, but what we're going to want, there it goes, what we're going to want to do is have that pushed in, and then push that down to where it needs to be. And then that's where it needs to be welded. But this, oh gosh, this needs to be perfectly straight. Hold on, dogs are going crazy. Somebody might be here. Alright, so I have tack welded a few spots. I don't even know if the tack weld on the top worked, but the bottom one sure did. I went ahead and removed this just as quickly as possible so that I didn't melt my plastic. There's a bearing in here, so I am going to let this cool off before I do any more welding. But this is the old one, and its horn and everything was fitted like that, and this one, its horn is fitted with a wire coming through I actually don't even see it here. It may have been in this. I will have to investigate what wire that I need to get to make my horn work. I'm pretty sure that it was in this yellow plug, because I'll just wait till daylight. It's like 9 o'clock. No, it's like 8:30. So it is dark here right now. But I'll get in here and I'll look at my parts truck, and then I'll get in here and find that wire, and we will feed it up in here and figure out a way to make it work with the horn button. I'll give this a little bit more time, and I'll weld a few spots on the back side, and it's pretty solid already. The top did not weld, but the bottom is welded in good. But I'll catch you back on in a minute. Alright, that is already welded on there. Moving right along here. I'm going to tighten these screws down a little bit. Get everything lined up. And then tighten them snug. Check this one more time. Alright. We're good to go. Now, that actually stays in. As long as it spins, yeah, we're good. So, let's see what we can find. We can put these on. If I can find the screws for those, I bet. Put a little bit of water in here because that was warm. But these are the screws for that. Alright, what a mess. Okay, so we've learned that the Pathfinder switches do not fit inside of a hardbody plastic housing. The hardbody plastic housing doesn't fit without the bracket that I built. So I built the bracket. I welded the bracket in at the depth that I needed it, so this will kick off the blinkers whenever I turn the wheel. That has to push in order for that to connect in here. And now I've discovered the bottom plug is fine. It does not interfere with anything. This top plug, I had to bust off all of the housing, and I'm going to have to do this one the same way. All of this housing I will have to bust off. This one ended up, it had 3 wires in that plug. I've got that plug laying here somewhere. I cut it off with a razor knife. It is right here. So I just cut into it, trying to be careful not to cut myself, and I ended up breaking the green one, but these other 2 I did not break. So this had a couple of extra things that I didn't need. I folded those back up out of the way, and I found that the gray one with the red stripe goes closest to the key. Then this green one will go next to it. And then we will have over here on this far left, furthest from the key, we will have a gray with a blue stripe. And these I will have to solder. I'm going to try to heat shrink this together each one separate, and then maybe tape it up good with some electrical tape so that none of these others ever hit anything, because it may blow a fuse if one of these were to get up on a grounded out piece of metal, or if they touched each other. So what I'm going to do now is unscrew these two screws, and I will pop this dude off, and I will solder. I'm probably going to just maybe cut these ends off, solder that together, and then I will use some connectors where I can unhook that. This one will probably be the same way, but I have a little bit of more room, and there are 8 wires in this plug, so it's going to be a lot of fun hooking that together. I will cut you back on once I figure something out here. Alright, I've got quite a bit more wiring to do, but we're going to try to finish this up here, and then we'll worry about this. Goes into the doors, and I got to put this aftermarket fuse block in. I'll go through that in another video if I can get to it here. What I've decided to do, I had this plug on the shelf, and it has 3 wires. So I'll just pick 3 colors, and I will put that on these. What I've got here, either it's not focusing or my lens is dirty. Let me see what I can do about that. Okay, I went ahead and zoomed in and it focused. So what I've done is I wrapped the wire around the pin, and then I twisted the pin over the wire so it's kind of doubled over, and my soldering iron over here is ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and knock all 3 of these out, and then I'm going to solder it into this plug. That way I can unplug it, and then I'll see if I can wire in these 2 plugs. One of these is a 4-wire plug, and the other one is a 5-wire plug, so there's no way that I'll get those backwards. And then I can take this 8-pin plug and rewire it, and we'll see if I can make it work. I soldered and heat shrinked. The heat shrink did not do what I wanted it to, really. If I put it up on here, it does clear really well. At this point, I think I'm just going to tape over this heat shrink tubing, tape over all of these other connectors, and I've got this really wide electrical tape, and I was gonna put that on there, but I think I've got this rubbery stuff that's real stretchy and gummy. I think it would actually be better. Let's see if I can. It's gonna be kind of cobbled up. I'm gonna see if I can basically cobble this up a little bit just to seal that up. That is what we're gonna have, and I'm okay with that. That's, for the most part, these are pretty solid now, and then the tape, everything kind of holds it up away, and even if it was to hit, it's not going to be interfering with anything. Everything is wrapped up really tight on that. I'll call that good. Now all I got to do is I've stripped out 3 of these, so one's green, one's red, and one's blue, and just so happens I have a red stripe and a blue stripe, and then the middle one's green. So I just cut my black one back. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to strip these others, and I'm going to put those onto the wires on both ends and get that to where it will just plug in. This side will be done. Alright, I got this one taped up real good on this side. What I'm going to do, I've got that soldered and heat shrinked together. So I'm going to fold that up a little bit, and I'm going to tape that one off the same as I did this one. just to clean those up and kind of keep them all together, and maybe it'll make them a little bit stronger. These wires are super fragile. They're way smaller than what I remember them being, and I kind of wish that I had used a different plug at this point. If it fails, then I can go right to it, because hopefully these don't break, but I don't know. It's definitely going to be the weak point of this. They're about half the size of the factory wire. Anyway, these other ones are quite a bit bigger, and I might even have that other really nice, I'll see if I've got another plug over here on my shelf that's a better brand. I wish that I'd found this first. I did have one of those better ones on the shelf, and it is an 8 plug, so that is what I'm going to use on that. This style is really nice. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's D21, and I just got this off of eBay, and this is a really nice plug. Anyway, we're gonna move forward. I'm gonna tape that, and then just cross my fingers that all works. And then this side will be ready to go. It'll be ready to plug in, and then I can work on this one. So, alright, I'll cut you back on. Alright, we got the other side done. It is all tucked up in there nice and neat. Cover should fit on that really nice. Everything should be out of the way of the tilt and everything. Anyway, so now I have to bust this side apart, figure out what we're going to do with it. So what we've got is these two over here that are separate. I don't know, that's maybe power in or something. I'll just have to remember that on the plug where you have to push the snap part is closest to the body, because I don't want to get all these wires backwards. I want to make sure they're right. I'm going to get to busting this off now. I got all that cleaned up. That's where we're at on that. And whenever you put that on here now, it will clear by a good ways. So now I'm going to peel all of the plastic off of these one at a time, so I don't get these confused. And I'm going to figure out what I can do about it. Alright, I'm crawled up in here after a 12-hour shift, and I am really feeling it. I've got two of these put together. So what I'm trying to do is wrap the wire around that and then bend that over onto the wire and then solder it. So, good stuff. And what I'm noticing is these next two wires that I was going to do are both black. And let's flip on the light. They both look identical. They might both be ground. I have no idea. They might not be. I really don't want to get these two confused. I think what I'm going to do is try to figure out a way of connecting them to this. I guess I'll end up just cutting this piece off. Instead of sliding it off of cut wires, I'll just cut that off, and that'll be out of the way, and then I can look at these wires better. It might be good to go ahead and start putting things back onto this at this point, and making sure that both of these sides do plug into each other, which they should. Came in a kit, so I'll cut you back on. So this is my 4-door that came from Mexico, and I was going to show you guys that I did this one already. I'm going to turn the flash on here. It's dark out here, but I find it odd that I put the tilt steering in this one, and I had to put this on because this one's automatic on the column. So anyway, I got that, I forget what brand, Lucara, I think, and that's made for the hard body, and it fits and everything. The horn, I did not wire this yet. So, but anyway, these switches right here, for some reason these have a wire coming out the top, and the plug on the bottom. I don't understand why I was able to get this to plug into this harness, and I was not able to get the other one plugged in to that harness, because I don't really remember having to do much to this to make it work. There's not even a plug on the top right here. I don't understand. I'm confused. Confused why I was able to just throw this one together and it plug in. Anyway, so on that one, I was actually able to get that plug out, and I slipped that over the stem there and soldered that in place. I'm gonna try to get all the rest of those out the same way. It's gonna be a lot easier. Alright, I was able to slip these cut wires back out of this factory loom area, and I'm gonna go red to red, and that blue go to the violet right there. Then I can hook this black one that I have up to the green like I have on this side, and then I will continue on. That way I don't get this black confused with the other black. Alright, so with the key on, we can hit the switch. The wipers just moved. They just moved again. And they just moved again. So we can take this down to a longer delay, and they pause a lot longer. If you heard those. So we can click it down to slow. They move slow. Click it down to high, and they move high. So this works perfect. I don't have window pissers, so I don't even need that. But it's one of these wires. I don't know, you could put NOS or I don't know, whatever. I don't need to go fast, so I'm going to leave that empty. And all of this is done now. What I'm going to do is see if I can figure out which one of these is the horn button. But I've worked 12 hours and I've been out here another 2 or 3 hours doing this. I'm going to suspect that all of this other works. I don't have any way of checking anything else for right now. But I'll go to the parts truck and I'll see if I can locate. Should be in this yellow wire, because that went to the horn, and I believe there was just one harness that went all the way to the front of this in the little ribbon that was right here, and that yellow wire should have plugged into that ribbon. I ripped it all apart, but I should still be able to find a color, a wire color, and I can strip this back. I'm not going to need any airbag, because I'm running an aftermarket steering wheel. So what I can do is locate one of these wires and figure out which one of those is the horn, and I'll try to put that in this video here. I'm gonna take me a nap. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Alright, so it is now tomorrow, and I feel better after having a nap. I came out to this parts truck, and it's got an airbag that's been blown out. I ripped all this stuff out. Here's that plate that I had to make. Anyway, so this appears to be the horn button, and it was screwed on right here. That should be, can't think of anything else that would be, pretty much has to be the horn button. That is a blue wire. I don't see a stripe. It goes into this plug, and it's the only wire coming out, but there are several wires going in this plug. We have a green, blue, and a brown. So this is going to be that's weird. So the brown has blue stripes, not stripe, like a dot. That's where this comes in at, all the way on that side. So it changed colors. So we need the brown wire with blue dots. And where's the other end of this? This was on a ribbon. See if we can figure out what we're doing here. This ribbon, so that allows you to spin your steering wheel. And we have a brown wire with blue speckles coming into the yellow plug. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to unplug this plug, and I'm just going to take it to the shop, and we will see if we can make that horn honk. Alright, back in the shop. I plugged the plug up. I cut off what I didn't need here. I'll throw that away. I'll show you. If you can hear it, you can ground this brown wire with the blue speckles. Hear that clicking? That is a relay. That is going to be our horn relay. I went ahead, this is where I've got, this is all custom. I built all this, but so my nose right here, half of the trailer fender fits onto the cab, half fits onto the radiator core support. Anyway, I've got it to where it bolts on right here, so I used that as a ground. It's not a very good ground, but if I trip this wire, can't see through the windshield. Anyway, I will give a negative signal. That horn is wore out, but that does tell us exactly what we need to know. I guess I'm going to have to buy some new horns for this, because that's kind of junky. I'm going to set this back over here out of the way with the other wore out horn. That was easy. It didn't take 5 minutes. And I think at this point what I need to try to do is, I'm I'm going to cut these other wires off short, and then I will know this is the wire that I need. I got to figure out how to come in here with it. I have built a plate on the bottom side of this to come in with a spring-loaded trigger. I believe that trigger was made for a BMW. I don't have a part number or anything. I did it to a 97 that I had. It was a regular cab. I did a static drop, but also a stock floor body drop on that. It was really cool. People said that it couldn't be done, so I did it. But anyway, that was an awesome truck. It's gone, but that's how I made it work. I'm gonna cut these off with one hand. No, I'm not. I thought I was. There we go. Alright, don't need all of those wires. I just need this one. I'm going to figure out what I can do with this and try to get this to work. Let me go get my steering wheel and we'll see if we can fit it on this video. Okay, I will say that I put on my 4-door hardbody that I got from Mexico. Well, I got from a person that got it from Mexico. I put a billet specialty steering wheel on there, and it cost me at least $400 to get it all put together. I bought the correct bracket that will fit onto the hard body. It was special order. I had to wait about 6 weeks to get that, and the horn still doesn't work on that truck. So I didn't do that this time. I bought this, I don't remember, maybe eBay. It's a pretty nice quality steering wheel. The polish isn't as good, of course, as the billet specialties, but I mean, it's pretty legit. It feels strong. It's thick. It's I think it's a pretty good unit. The surround is comparable. It feels nice. And what I did was, this is a 9-bolt, and the billet specialty is also a 9-bolt, so it should work the same as that if you're trying to do that. But what I did is I bought a Nissan 240 SX. I don't know, S13, S14, probably the same. But what this is an adapter to go to a 6-bolt. And then I ordered a thin 6-bolt to 9-bolt adapter. So this is the 240 SX adapter to 6-bolt. And then this polished piece here is the 6-bolt to 9-bolt adapter. So I adapted an adapter and ended up got my steering wheel where I can put it on. And I don't have it centered, so I've got to take this back off and get it centered where it will kick off my blinker correctly. And it did have this. I'm hoping will line up with the one I've got here. Pretty sure it will. I'm gonna take this back apart and we will look at it. I'm just gonna take the Allen screws back out where I can look at it a little bit closer. On the hard body, when you turn your blinker on, there is this little piece that comes out, and if it gets pushed up or down, it will kick off your blinker. And these little things is what kicks it up and down. So this piece needs to be centered like that. Then you will have the piece that connects to your adapter on top, and you'll have one on each side on the bottom here. On the back side of this, there are cutouts that hopefully line up with that. I need to confirm this, but these posts I'm not going to need. I wonder if they would hit that trigger. Probably not. I don't know. I'm gonna look at that. So those are not gonna reach in there. It's just not gonna work. So we'll see if we can get this blue thing to line up. It needs to be where it starts tapering in. We'll see if it comes out that far. The blue thing does come out to where it starts tapering. So that's where it needs to be. Everything should work. Alright, so now what I've got to do is figure out how to get these out without damaging anything. They don't seem to just pull out. I'll get back with you. Ended up that blue piece did not fit, so I just heated it up smoking hot. I just used my heat gun so that I wouldn't really get wouldn't lose any paint or anything. It's not like smoking hot. It's pretty warm. It's hot enough to melt this plastic. So I got it on there. Even this outside ring is pretty warm, so I'm not going to hold on to this very long, but you can see that it does fit now. I'm just going to leave that right there for a little bit. And hopefully that blue thing will push out with this spring. I may add a little bit extra strength because it looked like it was trying to push it out, but it wasn't really successful. I'll just pull this spring out a little bit by hand and give it some more strength and see if I can turn my steering wheel and kick this off and on. I got the steering wheel put on, and what we can do is hit our switch and it kicks off both directions. We are good to go. So you can hear it. It'll click. If it goes one way, that's the way it's supposed to go. So it won't click off if you're turning right and you're turning right. But if you're turning right and the steering wheel comes back left, it will click it off. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. We're good to go. The steering wheel actually looks pretty nice in here. And with that full tilt, I think it's going to be pretty cool. Everything, get this to go back down here. I was pushing it the wrong way. I always push these the wrong way. Anyway, so to adjust it, you push up. And you can adjust it up and down however you want. And then when you release that, it will lock into place. So to make it jump, I guess you push down and bigger guys can get in and out or whatever, but you got to push it back up, and then it won't move. Hold on. Done contrary. See, I told you. I pushed it up, not down. I always push these the wrong way. Why do I do that? Anyway, all we got to do now is get the horn to work. And I've got my horn button here. And what we can do is, so that is a male. These are not gender neutral. They have to be hooked up correctly. Which one of these do we want? We want the one that works off of this ring, I believe. Alright, I took my wheel back off. What I'm looking at now, so these were easy to break off. I marked top where I needed that to be on top for that plastic piece to be sitting where I needed it to sit. So you get your splines lined up. That's top. Now this ring on the back side here, I'm looking at where it needs to sit. This came with it. I need this to sit in there somewhere without having to buy anything. I could put this in, hook that up to my brown blue dotted wire, hook that right there, and put that in a hole that I could drill. That is one way that I could do this without purchasing anything else. And then this plastic sleeve would fit into a hole that I drill. I could even maybe glue that. And it is spring loaded, so it would keep constant pressure up against this. And as long as it didn't fold over or something, probably be alright. Second way to do it would be to figure out how to take this apart, and I could find a pigtail plug for that. I could have it where it plugs in. I see some screws right there. That probably removes at some point wherever. I don't see a crack, but surely this comes off or something. I'm gonna look at both of these because there is a cutout right here, and that's suspicious. This might fit onto the bottom of that and simplify everything. I'll cut you back on. This come out of the Pathfinder, so just so you know, I'll cut you back on. Okay, that plate, all it had was a way to clean these posts and change your springs or whatever, clean your contacts or change your contacts. But me holding that spring in, these do work really well. If this was to line up good, then this would completely resolve my issue. What I'm tempted to do is put this back on so I don't lose anything. And I am tempted to take a Sawzall and cut down here, and on the other side cut down there. I lost one of my springs just now. It's down here somewhere. I'll locate that, put it back in. So I'm gonna put this back on before I lose any more parts, and then see if I can just cut this off. I don't know, we'll look at it and see. Maybe I could glue it back up on here. Panel bond, it's not really for plastic. Maybe some 2-part epoxy or something. Panel bond might be good for plastic. I'll read on it and see. I've got a tube of panel bond, so it won't be a big deal to break up the panel bond. Alright, we'll figure something out in a minute. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is just glue this one that it came with here. I'm going to glue this piece of plastic up in this corner right here. I'll pull this off and show you. So right here is an edge where this black tube can sit, and I can epoxy that in there, and then the spring-loaded piece will be able to move in and out freely. This is just going to simplify everything. It's going to be real easy to install that way. I'll find me some glue and see about trying to figure out a way to make that permanent. Alright, I just mixed up a little bit of 2-part epoxy, and I glued in that crevice, and then I set the tube on, and then I smeared some glue around. I just used a screw and just a 5-minute Bob Smith. I don't know, we'll try it, see how it works. Hopefully this will correct all of that. We'll have a horn that will work. I have 5 minutes to let that dry. While that's drying, I can come over here and I can extend this wire to where I need it. Let's see if I can. What plug was that? I think I need a female, one of those flat. No, I need a male. That's a female. So I'll get a male and we'll see if we can extend that wire a little bit. I'll probably just put a male on the end of a wire, and I will run it up over here to where I can plug that up, and then I will solder and heat shrink that once I get it all put together, I'll see how long it needs to be, because I don't want a whole bunch of wire up in here. Well, everything was going together really smooth, and it had not even been 5 minutes, and it's still not been 5 minutes, but I went ahead and cut a piece of wire, and I soldered that and heat shrink it. It's ready to go. I just pulled it down here. So basically, it's like your parents, when they tell you to do something, then they do the opposite. That's exactly what I just did, but I'm a parent, so I can get away with that. Over here, we are still letting this dry. What I might do is get my lawnmower out, because I've got to mow today. It rained yesterday finally. It's been like a super drought. I gotta mow my yard and mow my mom's. And I also have to put O2 sensors on our Trans Am today. I have to take it somewhere tomorrow, and it is spitting and sputtering. I'm thinking the O2 sensors are out. I can't find my code reader. So anyway, I'm gonna try to do that. What else are we doing? I'm gonna see if I can weld in some of this also today or tomorrow. I'll make a video of that. I've got this body line pretty good. The other day I came out here and I failed to get a video of that. I just started working and 13 hours went by, and I had most of this all welded in. I welded that plate and welded all this, got that smoothed up, got this body line lining up with the hatch. I did the same thing on this side. Cleaned all of that up. This looks like crap, but I'm gonna roll with that. And then I'm gonna cover this up and have to build in where this weather strip goes all the way down. I'm gonna have to form that from scratch and close the rest of that gap up, weld these holes, put in my latch, and then this hatch will just about be done. It's supposed to be pretty today and tomorrow. I'm gonna see if I can get this hatch back off, finish cleaning some of this up, see about maybe getting some blue on the jamb area of the hatch. It's not really ready yet. I don't want to rush this thing. I want it to be right. I'm not going to cut corners just to have it ready for this car show. Alright, that epoxy, I don't know if it's going to hold. What I'm going to do is put in one of these screws that the hard bodies have all over the dash and interior pieces. I'm going to drill this little hole right in the middle, right here at an angle going down. That hole is actually too small, but it's plastic. I just don't want it to bust open. So this should form threads really nice. I'm going to go get a screwdriver, see if I can throw this screw in there. The screw should hold it. The epoxy might. So both together, I think will be good. I'll cut you back on in a minute. That screw, for some reason, didn't want to cut threads. So remember this little feller that we mixed all of our epoxy up with? I threw him in right here. Then I found a short one, and I just put it in right there. And we have a little springy thing. All right. Now, I'm going to go put all this back together and see if the horn will honk. Alright, the wire was getting pinched by this piece of metal. It stuck out a little bit too far. I just went ahead and bent that over just a little bit. My bracket was a hair big. It's alright. Now we're going to, for real, put it together, I hope. Yeah. So now it clears the wire. Alright. I put my steering wheel back on with 2 bolts, just maybe 3 bolts, just so that I can show you that it does work. I put the old crappy horn back up on here. I'm going to remove the steering wheel later. I don't want to put it on fully. I'm fixing to put a double panoramic Mini Cooper sunroof in the roof, and I don't want to damage any interior. The dash is coming back out and everything, so I'll do that all together. But listen to this. It's pretty easy. Hopefully it'll last. It should, with the screws and everything in there holding it. I think it will last. So blinker, kicks off, blinker, kicks off. We are good to go. You can see me in there. I'm dirty. Been working all morning. So we're getting there. Everything, wipers, everything's still working. Look at that. Can you see that stub moving? I don't have any wipers yet. After paint, I will get all that cleaned up. And alright. So I hope you like this video. I hope this helps you. Alright, so till next time, I'm gonna start welding in some stuff later. And I'll see you later.